This is GRE 503, Level 1. And for this level, you're going to be asked to graph using a table and graphing just lines. So let's look at this first example. You're asked to graph the line y equals 7 over 2x minus 3. And since it says to create a table, that's what we're going to go ahead and do. Now, when you make a table, first you have to choose x values. And we want to think about what x values are going to give us nice numbers. Okay, so if I put something in for x, if I choose a number that's divisible by 2, that means that I'm going to get nice numbers out of here. You could pick any x, but if you want nice numbers to come out, it'd probably be a good idea to pick even numbers here. So I'm going to pick -2, or -4, -2, 0, 2, and 4. And then when I plug these back up into this equation, so for example, if I plug in -4, okay, I'm going to do 7/2 in my calculator, so in parentheses, times -4 minus 3. And when you do that, you get -17. We're not going to be able to plot that on this line, so I'm going to actually choose a different x value. I'm going to show you what happens when I choose how about I'm going to move this one up, and I'm going to choose -1 here. So when I put in -2 instead of -4, I'm going to get out a -10. When I put in -1, I'm going to get -6.5. So when you choose something that's not even, you're going to get a decimal, which is okay as long as you know how to graph those. When I put in 0, I'm going to get out -3. When I put in 2, I'm going to get 4. And when I put in 4, I'm going to get 11. Okay, so then I'm going to go ahead and I need to plot the points next. So I've got -2 is in the x direction. Remember, this is the x-axis and the y-axis. So -2, -10 is down here. -1, -6.5 is right here. Okay, 0, -3, 2 and +4, and then 3, and then 11 would be right about here. And then once you've plotted the points, we're going to make a line. Whoops. Oh, I see why that point's not working. I should have put that at 4, and I put it at 3 instead. So at 4, and then 11 is right about there. You should get a nice line, and then you should put arrows on both ends to indicate it's going on forever. It goes on forever. Okay, so using a table, that's how you graph a line. And then we need to answer this question below. What are the coordinates for the x-intercept and the y-intercept for the line above? So before we can answer this question, we need to know what this means. X-intercept means where the line crosses the x-axis. And similarly, the y-intercept is where the line crosses the y-axis. So if we look back up at our graph, it's more apparent where it crosses the y-axis because that was one of the points that we plotted right here. So it crosses the y-axis, and I want you to put this as a point at 0, -3. So that's our y-intercept. Now something that you want to note about all y-intercepts is your x value must be 0. Must be 0. And then when we're trying to find where it crosses the x-axis, similarly, y must be 0. Because if we look up here, all along this line right here, any point that you choose, y is going to be 0. So if we want to figure out where this crosses, we just need to plug in 0 for y and solve for x. So we are going to have 0 equals 7/2 x minus 3. Okay, so to solve this, we need to add 3 to both sides. Okay, so we'll have 3 equals 7/2 x. Then to get rid of the 2 in the denominator, we're going to multiply both sides by 2. So we'll have 6 equals 7x. And then x, you need to divide by 7. Divide by 7. X is going to be 6/7. So the point here, the x-intercept, is going to be 6/7, comma, 0. And if we look up here, that makes sense. 6/7 is a little less than 1, and that looks about where it crosses the x-axis. So that makes sense. Now, I don't think that I would ask on a quiz anything quite that complicated where you have to do all that solving in level 1. But you do need to be able to look at the graph and know that it crosses right about there, around 1. Okay. All right, let's look at this last question down here. I'm going to move this over a bit. All right, this question is asking us to plot a point so that the y-coordinate, so y, is, which is like an equal sign, is 3 more than twice the x-coordinate. So twice the x-coordinate and 3 more than that. So 2x plus 3. And we can plot any point that follows this guideline. So pick something for our x. Let's say 4. Okay. Then we're going to put 4 up into this equation. So y equals 2 times 4 plus 3, which is 8 plus 3, which is 11. So 4 comma 11. And let's just check to see if this works. The y-coordinate is 3 more than twice the x-coordinate. Twice 4 is 8. 3 more than that is 11. So we know that this works. All right, that's it for level 1. Again, this problem up here where we had to solve, right, this one, it wouldn't show up on a level 1 to that extent. You would be asked to instead go ahead and look at a graph and find where the x and y intercepts are. You have to know, you have to be able to identify where they are on the graph, not necessarily solve an equation like that. And that's it. Let me know if you have questions.